Hey Slayers, welcome back to another episode of the Slaying Self-Doubt Podcast. It's your girl, Coach Felicia. I want to welcome all the new Slayers joining the Slayer Self-Doubt movement. No matter how you found me, whether it was by way of a podcast episode, YouTube, Google, I just want to thank you so much for being here. This is not going to be your average episode. I know I have been in my A for a minute, and yeah, I think that if you have been listening for a while, you know that the transition that I had over the last year or so, last 2 years have been interesting. And so I don't know. I think I just kind of really been in this space of trying to figure out what my next move was. And it took me a while to come to a conclusion. And we're here. Okay. So this episode is the start of my final 4-part series as I close the chapter on the Slaying Self Doubt podcast. I know, you all are like, the crap, girl. How you come back and then tell us you leaving? Because I couldn't just leave, right? I was kind of in limbo of what was next, but my heart knew that this was it. I knew that God called me to this space for a moment, but it didn't feel right. Just like, all right, y'all, I'm out type situation. I felt like I owed it to myself. And I don't burn no bridges. So that's number one. Any job I've ever had, I could probably go back to. Okay. But I don't burn bridges. And I just couldn't leave I couldn't leave like that. So I made a decision to do a 4-part series. Why 4? Because you're probably like, girl, you could just end right now. Well, 4 would end me at 300 episodes. And so I felt like what a way to end is at a milestone, and I'm grateful for it. So today, my intention is to take it back. Okay. So we're going to take it back to the beginning of, how this podcast was even birthed, my obedience, but just it's like a journey, right? So for me, it's reflective as a part of the reason why I wanted to do this, because there was so much angst and fear and doubt that was embedded into this, right? Embedded into the podcast itself because of how it started. And I kind of just wanted to go back because I've always said the same thing. I've told every guest that your episode will stay on the podcast for as long as the Lord tells me. So regardless of whether or not I'm going to stop recording, my podcast will still be on wherever you can find podcasts. I'm sure of it because I'm like, people go back and I don't know what the future holds, right? And so I don't want to say never, but what I know right now, this is the end, right? Okay. So the first part of what we're going to talk about is the why. Why I even started this podcast. So great question. When I think back to that, I think about where I was in my life. And I have said this multiple times that I was in a place of curiosity is the word I will use now. A place of trying to figure out what was my next. You know what I mean? Like I'd been married for a few years. My kids were elementary school-ish. So this is what, 20. So the beginning really isn't when the podcast started. It starts 2 years before that. So this was like 2017. I was going through some health challenges. So maybe I shared this. I don't know, but we're sharing it now. It's fine. So I had my wisdom teeth taken out at the beginning of the year. That was number one. Number two, my body was doing something. I felt like it was attacking me is what was happening to me. But my cycle was dumb stupid. Like I felt like I was like a 11 or 12-year-old. And now being where I am now, I think I probably was like in perimenopause. But anyway, it was just really bad. I had really bad fibroids. My cramps were bad. Like it was god awful. So at that point, I was making a decision twofold. One, my husband and I were talking about having another child. And then at the same time, I knew I had fibroids. So I was going through all this testing and everything. And so probably the middle of the year, so July, June, maybe May, June of 2017, I found this doctor who I'm trying to get the fibroids removed from. And he's like, let's do an MRI. I'm like, sure, let's go ahead. So I had all these other tests, and he was like, he had a hunch about something. So I go to get the MRI and come to find out I have like this tumor on my uterus. It was benign, but he was like, yeah, you're not going to be like, you could get pregnant, but you wouldn't be able to carry any more kids. That's one. And then two, he was like, the only way I can fix your cycle is with a hysterectomy, or you can take birth control. I'm not doing that, right? By this time, I'm like 36. So I'm like, I got two kids. I'm well into my life. Like, I would actually be starting over. I think my son was 6. Yeah. So my youngest son would have been 6. So I was just like, went home, talked to my husband, and was like, yeah, so I'm getting a hysterectomy. That's what's happening, right? So this is like, the middle of July. I was like, I already made the appointment. I knew I was doing it. So did it like the end of July. But I feel like all these things were happening to me externally, internally. And I was in this, I don't know, it's just like this weird space of kind of figuring out like what's next, right? And I believe that in the midst of that, I was leading a life group within my church. And it was like transition happening and that. It was a lot going on. And I remember being in my bedroom and slaying self doubt just coming up. Like it literally was just like that phrase popped up in my head. And so at that time, I feel like formation was like, Beyonce slay. Okay, ladies, now let's get in formation. That joint was out. And so my husband was like, oh, you such a Beyonce fan. And I was like, no, it literally has nothing to do with that. I was like, I don't even know where it's coming from. Right. So the phrase was always just kind of this thing. And so slowly but surely, God was planting these seeds of like what to do. So like the next thing was like, so fast forward to like the end of 2017, he kind of tells me to create a Instagram page, and I create the Instagram page. And if you go all the way back, I've never deleted anything on my Instagram. So if you go back all the way to the bottom, it's like a whole bunch of Pinterest pictures. I just was reposting. But at the time, God's just like putting things in my spirit about what it is. So then the next thing I do is I change the name of my life group to Slaying Self Doubt. And all these women kind of flood in, and they are really like, it's the name that brought me to it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, child, I don't even know. I'm just being obedient, right? And so in the leading and then the curiosity phase is when the podcast comes up. And I was like, no, first of all, who wants to hear? I don't have nothing to say. It's immediately what I said. What do I have to say? I got nothing. I got nothing to give. I don't know. What am I talking about? Why would somebody even listen to me? Right. And I still have all these journals of the year. Okay. Because we're at 2018, guys. The year it took me to even start, because I kept just saying nobody will want to hear me. What if nobody listens? What if my voice sounds crazy? What if I say something that, now people start judging me? One of my biggest fears was, there was a 1998 bun, and she wasn't always so nice, right? And then, people think like, oh, you think you too good for whatever, because now you're out here. Although I knew I could evolve, I would say my irrational fear was that somebody would call me out, right? And so it was just this thing of like, but there was this pressing. Like, it was like, bro, I'm telling you, I couldn't shake it off of me. As many times as I was just like, I'm not doing it. Like, I literally probably was like telling God, give me something else. Like, I did the group. I changed the name of the group. Is this not enough? Is this not enough? So then I happened to have the bright idea to mention it to people. And then it just went from there, right? People just continued to ask me, aren't you supposed to be doing a podcast? Aren't you supposed to be doing a podcast? Then people had ideas. Oh, you should do a podcast about this. You should do a podcast about that. And I would be like, okay, I don't know. That's literally what I was saying. Was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm sorry, my phone just rang, and I hope y'all didn't hear that, but I know I'm in the middle of this, so I'm just gonna put my phone on airplane mode. But I what was I about to say? Lord, that threw me off. I was like, I didn't know what I was supposed to talk about, but I knew the ideas people was giving me wasn't it, right? So it was just like that. And so I remember like I was going to different seminars. So I started researching podcasts, what it takes to do a podcast, what this type of stuff. So I bought my mic. This is literally my very first mic. I have not changed the mic. I've used the same mic. I've had multiple headphones, but I've not changed the mic. I found out what software I needed, how I needed to do it. At the time, I was also struggling with whether or not this had to be a visual podcast because I had Bell's palsy, and so that was an insecurity of mine, right? And so it was just so many things that I just was like, oh no. And then one day I went to the basement and I just recorded. And that's the very first episode that you hear. I just recorded, I wrote some stuff down, I recorded what I was feeling, I recorded what I thought God wanted me to talk about. And that was like December or July or something. It was like a weird time. Yeah, it was like July of 2018. And then I didn't do anything else. I was just so nervous after that. I just didn't do anything else. And then yeah, that was the first episode that I put it all out there, right? And I wasn't sure like if I was going to even what I was going to do with it, right? And so then some time went by, and I would say maybe like December of 2018, God had me do it again, right? And I recorded this time in my closet because I think my kids was in the basement or something. And so I had the same mic, and I'm holding the mic with my computer, and I'm using like I don't know. I was using like a table, like a dinner table thingy, tabletop, dinner tabletop thingy, the 40. And so I'm using that as like my studio, right? And I'm in the closet like, hey guys, this is Felicia again, and I'm just like, I don't know what to call myself. I don't know what to talk about. And that episode was about procrastination because I was living in it, right? And then I think I created a third one, and I still didn't press record until March of 2019. And I didn't even press record. So first I went to the software, I updated it. And I remember running downstairs. I put all the information in, right? I run downstairs. I tell my husband, I was like, I did it. And he was like, what? I was like, I signed up for the podcast and I put all the information in. He's like, oh, okay, so I can listen to it? I was like, no. And so he's like, so what did you do? I said, I signed up. That's it. He was like, so it's not active so people can hear it? I was like, no, that I had to do one thing at a time. I was like, no, let me just do this first. There's no way I couldn't do that. Like I just couldn't build up the nerve to do it. And so I think it was March 3rd or March 5th. Now, what I think is interesting about that is that I had no idea it was like at the time that it was like Women's History Month or whatever have you. So for me to have done it during that time was like God knew that it was going to in the future it was going to be something that I could continue to like use to my advantage or to be able to continue to bring him glory in that space, right? Because I wasn't keeping up with stuff like that. So I remember finally put it out there, sent it to my friends, sent it to my group, family, and the feedback I got was like amazing. Like people were just so happy. And so then slowly but surely, I figured out a rhythm. I figured out what I was going to do, and I started recording. And all the things that I was afraid of did not happen. Nothing. Like the critiques that people gave me maybe was about the sound and, a lot of, I was editing and stuff, and it was a lot of and like it was more so of me getting comfortable to be able to just talk, right? And so eventually, once I got to a place where I was just like, I don't care. Like, this is me. This is how I'm showing up. It was easier for me to record. I would be at work and be like, oh, I already know when I'm about to record. I would go home and I would record on my ironing board. And I've been all over my house, like to record this. And these episodes. There's, like I said, it's been in the closet, it's been in the basement, it's been in the kitchen, it's been in the living room, it's been in the on a desk, on a cookout table, on an ironing board, on a dinner table thingy, whatever. What is that called? It's called something. And I think the thing that continues to move me forward, or will continue to move me forward, was that I knew I was doing something. Every time that I completed the thing, I knew it was a God thing. I had so much peace in my spirit. I had so much like, it was a calmness that I was living in the assignment, right? And I think sometimes, if this is your first time listening, honestly, a lot of times these episodes they have a purpose and all of those things. And sometimes in my lessons and what it is that I am sharing, I will, encourage others as well. So I think in that process and in that journey, what I learned is that you're going to be afraid. You're going to be scared. It's going to be nerve wracking. It's going to feel like you can't breathe. That's how you know it's right. If it's easy, it may not be for you. And I say that because sometimes it gets easier. Like, it got easier for me to do the work, but it was never easy for me to talk about what I had to talk about. Every time God challenged me to do something, to interview somebody, to come on camera, he was pressing me more and more to just grow and grow. And my encouragement to you is whatever it is that God has put on your heart, whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, whatever it is that you stopped doing and you need to go back to doing, I would encourage you to think back to the beginning. And I've said this multiple times. Y'all could go back. This is episode 297. So you got 296 episodes to listen to. Run God's track record. This podcast is evidence. Okay. Naomi Rhymes has a, Naomi Rhyme. Is that her last name? Rain. Naomi Rain. Sure. Has a song called Evidence. And it literally says, I'm living proof. I am living proof that you keep your promises. I am living proof that you will do what you say, right? And so that is me running my track. I am God's track record. When I think about the things that I have been through throughout this podcast and outside of it, God has shown me over and over and over again that he is faithful, that if he asks me to do something, and I do it with my whole heart, that he will bless me, that he cares. Like, everything that he asks me to do, no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult, no matter how uncomfortable it is all for his glory and it's for my growth. And I think that what happens is that sometimes we tend to stop doing stuff or be afraid to do things because we're too comfortable being in our regular space. And I'm encouraging you to step out on faith. Bruh, if these last couple of years haven't shown you anything, it should have shown you, number one, tomorrow's not promised to anybody. I don't care what you do, how good you eat, how good you work out. Tomorrow is not promised. Number two, God is faithful. Even in your failures, God is faithful. Number three, what do you have to lose by trying? Just try. Just try. I don't even know what else to say other than just try. Sometimes somebody needs to just hear that. Just try. And I'm telling you from somebody who gets stuck in the trying. I was having I literally figuring out what I was going to do next with this podcast. I was struggling. The way my therapy sessions have been surrounded about what's happening with Slaying Self-Doubt and the podcast. And I was like, okay, I think when I got to the place where I felt like I'm going to sunset the podcast, and I sat with it and I felt peace. And I said, and I think I have a great way. I was like, let me check. I looked, I said, okay, 296 episodes. I'm going to do 4 episodes that are in me at 300. And I feel good about that. I made that decision at the beginning of this year. I am recording this in August, actually August 29th, because I don't even know when I am going to release these episodes, right? And so the last session I had with my therapist, she said, "Why are we talking about when you're going to release it? You ain't even recorded. What are you talking about? You don't even know. You have no script. You have no nothing. How are we all the way at the end when you haven't even started?" She was like, "Just record. Do the first thing. Then worry about the rest of the stuff later." And it's not anything I haven't heard before. It's not even anything I haven't told you before. But sometimes when we are being pushed and prompted to do something that's going to make us uncomfortable, it will make you retreat. And for me, everything is surrounded by my self doubt. Everything is surrounded around, okay, what happens? Is anybody going to listen to the last 4 episodes? Is anybody even going to care that I'm sunsetting the podcast? Does anybody even know what I'm doing next? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing next. But what I do know is I cannot do this thing, until I finish this thing. Like I said at the beginning of this, I don't burn bridges, right? And I can't walk away from this space, this assignment, until God says it's good. And so that's how I knew I had no choice. I got to sunset it in a way that's going to give me honor and give him honor. And this is the best way. And so I hope, I feel like today, I wasn't sure today. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Today I was like, oh no, I might cry. I'm not really sure because I feel sad, right? But not like a bad sad way. It's more or less like a, man, like I'm at peace. I really am at peace with this decision. But I think back to all the times that somebody told me that this podcast blessed them and how they were grateful. My grandmother would call me and, Bunny, I listened to your podcast and I just want to tell you how, like, I'm talking about my parents. Like, I think I am going to get a little emotional. Okay, so all these episodes might be emotional. Um, I just so many people who have stopped me when they see me out. People who come up with like, "You're slaying self doubt, right?" Opportunities that I have received because of doing this podcast. People that I have met, relationships that I have built, the growth that has happened in me personally, professionally. God really gave me something that I could not do within my own strength. Every time I came to this place, whether the microphone was here or at an event or on somebody else's podcast, I literally had to push myself aside and allow him to be first and allow him to come through. And I am grateful. Like, it's been a wild ride. It's still to this day that, when people say like, and what's so crazy about it too is that this is how I know that this assignment is really, it was bigger than just what it was supposed to be, because I was always from the jump like, I'm not advertising this. Like, who does that? Like, I'm not it's not me, right? And so I remember working with several coaches about what I was going to do and taking all these courses, and I kept being like, bro, why can't it just be what it is? Why I gotta put a spin on it and do all this other stuff? Like, why can't it just be, this is the assignment that God told me to do and I'm doing it? The very first thing that God told me to do was to help women who look like me overcome their doubts, fears, and insecurities, because it was something I struggled with. And it was something that he forced me to walk out in front of you. And as scary as it was, as much as I fought and wanted to say no, and I said no plenty of times, I did it. Like the most scariest thing was doing this, like literally showing my face, right? And not the whole time holding up this side so that it look normal, whatever have you. And if you're watching this, I broke my pinky. It's fine, but um, like I could have, there's no way I would have could have even imagined that I would be here. There's no way that I didn't think I was going to get through one episode and to literally sit here and be like, bro, I'm about to record 4 episodes to get me to 300. That is beyond me. Like, I know that that ain't nothing but God because I literally say I have nothing to say. And apparently I have a lot to say and I've had a lot to say for a lot of years. Um, and yeah, every episode, I'm going to thank you. I want to thank you for showing up. I want to thank you for listening. I'm going to thank you for sharing. I want to thank you for being present. I want to thank you for your encouragement, for your affirmations, for being a part of this journey because there's no way I could have done this without you all. I would not be here if you were not listening because clearly what would be the point, right? Um, and so when I think about how I started and what this podcast was supposed to be, I realized that it wasn't always about you, right? So sometimes we're doing stuff outwardly. It was always about me. It was always about me slaying my own self doubt. And this was the avenue, very public, right? But this was the way that God had to show me that I am capable, I am able, I can do hard things. This podcast is my living proof. It's my evidence that I'm slaying and have and will continue to slay my self doubt. It stretched me. It has healed me. And like I said, it grew me in ways I never could have imagined. And the next time I'm here, I don't know when I'm going to record because I can't keep crying. So whenever the next time I'm back, and the next time you hear my voice, I'll take you behind the mic and share some of the lessons and growth that nobody saw. Right? There's some stuff that we show, and then there's other stuff that we don't show. And so I'll take you behind the scenes of the obedience and where God was growing me. Um, and so as we end this episode, I have a call to action for these next 4 episodes, okay? Because I don't just want to like end it, right? I don't know what's next, but this community is important to me. So if you have been rocking with me since the beginning, or if you just found me, doesn't matter because you can go back and listen to some episodes. I want to hear from you. What episode has stuck with you the most? I want you to share it with me on Instagram, tag me in your stories. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page because I will tell you this. This will be gone, but I'm not necessarily gone. So the YouTube page will be sticking around. Okay. Not sure what that's going to turn into, but I know for sure that's my next platform. Yeah, while you're in YouTube, go on over if you're already watching this, hit subscribe. Um, and that's where my next season will live. So, again, like I said, I would love to hear what episode has stuck with you the most. Um, Again, if you can share it on Instagram, I'm on a TikTok now too, or I've been on it. But share, you can send me a DM. You can tag me in a story if you want to share it visually, right? But I really want to know out of these 297 episodes, which one sticks out to you? I have a few. I might do it too. I'm going to share. Oh gosh, that means that I have to do something, right? Because now the realization of me announcing that I'm sunsetting the podcast just hit because I'm just recording this, but now I'm asking you this. And so I might be running it back, running some until it happens. I might do a little nostalgia. Okay then. All right, y'all. As always, thank you so much for rocking with me. Please still share this episode with at least 10 people. Hey, listen, before we sunset it, we might be able to get to 100,000 episodes. I don't know. The Lord works. So just keep sharing it. Don't forget to follow me everywhere at Slaying Self Doubt. And until next time, keep slaying, sis. See ya.